The rain hammered against the diner's windows like 1,000 urgent knocks, each drop seeming to echo the desperation pounding in Sarah Mitchell's chest. She sat frozen in the worn red vinyl booth, staring at the laminated menu through eyes that refused to focus. Her 7-year-old daughter Emma pressed against her side, whispering that she was so hungry. Sarah's hand trembled as she reached into her purse one more time, knowing what she would find, or rather, what she wouldn't. 3s and 47. That was all that stood between them and complete destitution, all that remained. After paying for the transmission repair that had consumed her entire paycheck, the same paycheck that was supposed to cover groceries, utilities, and the mountain of bills that seemed to grow taller each day. The fluorescent lights above buzzed with an indifference that made Sarah want to scream. She had walked past this Diner Rosie's kitchen 100 times on her way to her 2 jobs, always promising Emma that someday when things got better they would go inside and order whatever they wanted. Today was supposed to be that day. It was Emma's birthday, and Sarah had planned everything so carefully, budgeting down to the last penny, so she could give her daughter one perfect meal, one moment where they didn't have to worry. But life, as it had done so many times before, had other plans. The transmission gave out yesterday, and the mechanic had looked at her with that mixture of pity and impatience that she had grown to recognize. The look that said he knew she was drowning, but he still needed his money. If you believe in the power of kindness, in the beauty of human compassion, and in second chances, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us share more stories that remind us of the goodness that still exists in this world. Emma tugged gently on her mother's sleeve, her small voice cutting through the fog of Sarah's despair. She was asking about the pancakes pictured on the menu, the ones with blueberries and whipped cream that looked like clouds. Sarah felt something crack inside her chest, a physical pain that radiated through her entire body. She had worked 60 hours last week, between her job at the grocery store and her night shifts cleaning office buildings. Her hands were raw, her back ached constantly, and she couldn't remember the last time she had slept more than 4 hours. All of it, every sacrifice, every exhausted morning, every moment she pushed through the pain was for Emma, and still, it wasn't enough. Still, she couldn't give her daughter a birthday meal. The waitress approached, a middle-aged woman named Diane, whose name tag was slightly crooked and whose smile seemed genuine despite the weariness in her eyes. Sarah opened her mouth, feeling the words stick in her throat like broken glass. She was going to ask for just a glass of water for Emma, maybe split a piece of toast between them if it was cheap enough. But before she could speak, Emma looked up with those bright, trusting eyes and asked if they could please have the birthday special she had seen on the board outside. Sarah's heart shattered. She tried to smile, tried to form the words to explain why they couldn't, why they had to leave, but the tears came instead, hot and unbidden, streaming down her face in the middle of this crowded diner. Diane's expression shifted immediately from professional pleasantness to genuine concern. She set down her order pad and slid into the booth across from them, her voice lowering to a gentle whisper. She didn't ask what was wrong because she could see it, could read it in every line of Sarah's exhausted face, in the way Emma's birthday dress was slightly too small because there had been no money for a new one, in the careful way Sarah clutched that worn purse as if it might contain miracles. Instead, Diane simply said that she would be right back, and she disappeared through the swinging doors into the kitchen. Sarah used those moments to try to compose herself, wiping her face with thin napkins, whispering apologies to Emma, who looked confused and frightened by her mother's tears. She was gathering the courage to leave, to walk back out into that punishing rain and explain to her daughter that sometimes life was just hard and unfair. When the kitchen doors swung open again, but this time it wasn't Diane who emerged. It was a tall man in a chef's coat, his face weathered by years but kind, with gray hair and hands that moved with practiced purpose. He was carrying a tray, and behind him, Diane followed with another. The chef's name was Marcus Romano, and he had owned Rosie's Kitchen for 23 years, ever since his late wife Rosie had encouraged him to pursue his dream. He set the tray down on their table with a gentleness that seemed at odds with his imposing figure, and Sarah saw what it held: a stack of blueberry pancakes with whipped cream, scrambled eggs, bacon, fresh fruit, and a small cupcake with a single candle flickering bravely. Diane placed down 2 chocolate milkshakes, the kind with whipped cream and a cherry on top, the kind that belonged in dreams. Sarah tried to protest, tried to explain that she couldn't afford this, that there had been some mistake. But Marcus held up his hand and his voice was firm but infinitely compassionate. He told her that there was no mistake, that every person who walked through his doors deserved to be fed, especially on birthdays, especially families who were fighting so hard to stay afloat. He told her about Rosie, about how they had once been exactly where Sarah was now, young and struggling, with more bills than money and more love than resources. He told her about a stranger who had once bought them groceries when they were at their lowest, how that single act of kindness had given them not just food but hope, the belief that the world still contained goodness. Marcus said that he had built this diner on a promise to his wife before she passed that he would always look out for people who were struggling, that he would pay forward the kindness they had once received. He explained that every week he set aside a portion of his profits for exactly this purpose, for moments when he could make a difference in someone's life. He told Emma happy birthday and asked her to make a wish on her candle. And when she did, closing her eyes tight with that beautiful childhood faith in magic, Sarah saw that Diane was crying too. They ate slowly, Sarah and Emma, savoring every bite not just because the food was delicious, but because it was seasoned with something more precious than any ingredient, with human kindness, with compassion, with the reminder that they were not invisible, that their struggle mattered to someone. Marcus returned several times, bringing more food, refusing to let them leave hungry, packing up containers of meals to take home. He pressed something into Sarah's hand as they prepared to leave, and when she looked down, she saw 5 $20 bills and a note with the diner's information, telling her that if she ever needed a meal, his door was always open. But there was more. Marcus told her that he was looking for someone reliable to help manage his daytime operation, someone who understood what it meant to work hard, to fight for survival. He said that if she was interested, the job was hers, with better hours than her current 2 jobs combined and benefits that included health care. He said he could tell a fighter when he saw one, and Sarah Mitchell was a fighter. Sarah broke down completely then, pulling Emma close, the weight of months and years of struggle finally lifting just enough to let her breathe. She thanked Marcus and Diane through her tears, thanked them in words that felt inadequate for the gift they had given her, not just a meal, not just a job, but hope itself, the belief that maybe, just maybe, things could get better. As they left the diner that evening, the rain had stopped, and the sun was breaking through the clouds in golden streams that seemed almost biblical. Emma held her mother's hand and talked excitedly about the pancakes, about how this was the best birthday ever. And Sarah realized that sometimes miracles came not in grand gestures but in simple acts of human kindness, in the decision of one person to see another's pain and do something about it. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that compassion still exists in this world, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment sharing a time when someone showed you unexpected kindness, and share this story with others who might need this reminder today. Your engagement helps these stories of hope reach more people. Please comment below with a heart emoji if you believe the world needs more people like Chef Marcus. 6 months later, Sarah was managing Rosie's kitchen's day shift. Emma was thriving with the stability their new life provided, and Sarah had started a program at the diner to continue Marcus's legacy, one meal, one act of kindness at a time, because she had learned that the most powerful thing we can do in this world is to see someone else's struggle and choose compassion, to remember that every person fighting their own battle deserves to know they are not alone, that kindness exists, and that sometime, when you least expect it, help arrives in the form of a chef carrying pancakes and hope.